So, do, la, fa, mi, do, re. So, do, la, ti, do, re, do.
Good, but it doesn't mean anything.
So we put in words, one word for every note, like this. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything together. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. Do, a drop of golden sun.
I'm a children's physiotherapist.
I work in an IT department for a holiday company, so I'm a sort of programmer, analyst, program manager sort of thing.
I'm a police officer. I'm doing A-levels.
I work as a speech and language therapist.
A drink with jam and bread that will bring us back to do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. Do, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re. Do, re, mi, so, so. Re, fa, fa, la, ti, ti. Do, mi, so, so. Re, fa, fa, la, ti, ti. When you know the notes to sing, you can sing most anything. A doe, a deer, a female deer, ray, a drop of golden sun, me, a name I call myself.
Well, the group was founded about 15 years ago by somebody called Jeff Welsh, who was the headmaster of the school, and he had always had a love of drama and felt that Pirton could really benefit from a very active drama group.
We have an artistic committee, which is a group of 5 people who meet, I suppose, about half a dozen times a year, and we talk about various plays that we think we can do, various musicals which people have mentioned. Then every May we have what's called a taster evening, where we have about 8 or 10 shows which different people present as ideas. Over the period of the previous year, the artistic committee will decide what would be a really good programme to do. We do 2 main shows a year, and sometimes one in the summer, a smaller one in the summer. And then we put that to the AGM in the summer, and then so we're basically in July we're telling them or saying what the show's going to be for the following year. So that's how the shows get chosen.
It's one of my favourite films from when I was little.
That's only recently been made available to the amateur theatre. So when we found out that was available, we thought it'd be a really great show for us to do.
Bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
And the directors themselves, it really depends on the show. Some people will come forward with a project which they're very excited about and they want to direct, which is what's happened with this, I guess, and also with our next production, which is Calendar Girls.
You know, certainly for the first 5 or 6 weeks, Anton would be doing, acting, Amanda would be doing choreography, and I'd be doing music in the back room. So if you like, we've almost got 3 rehearsals going on independently at some point. So if you like, it elongates the rehearsal time.
I work the routines out at home and it's just me and lots of dots on a piece of paper, and when you come to do it with children or adults, I mean sometimes the adults can be more challenging in that sense. To me it's getting the people who can't dance feel comfortable with moving, and if they're not comfortable it's not going to come across. However great it looks in my brain, it's not going to look that good to the audience. So I try to make anything simple so that people can do it and they can do it happily to the best of their, and they can do it with a smile on their face, because at the end of the day, if they're worrying about what the step is, when it's coming, what bit of music it fits with, they're not going to give the best performance they can give. And to me, people are paying money, they want to see a really good performance.
Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. When you read, you begin with
A, B, C.
When you sing, you begin with do, re, mi. Do, re, mi.
The thing is with Pirton Plays is everyone from Pirton comes to watch the shows or is involved.
We've got all ages, from children through to more elderly people.
Everyone's really nice and I love working with the children because I love children and they're lovely.
I'm Ellie. I'm Izzy, but I'm Brigitte. And I'm Marta.
Ellie, you'd probably be better off with that.
We're in the Sound of Music, by the way. Yeah.
There's a real ownership of the group, so I always laugh and say Pirton Players could recite the telephone directory and we would still get people coming to see it.
2.5 years ago, a neighbour of mine told me that Pirton Players were putting on like a singing evening, and she knew that I enjoyed singing, and she said I should come along, and I did, and I've been here ever since.
Well, through Ant, really. Anton, the director, who I've known since we were very young, and he persuaded me it would be a good idea, a good thing.
I got into the singing really through Pirton Players, and now I do lots of very different things and sing in London a lot. But it all started in Pirton Players.
Every show you do, there's a different challenge really. The hardest challenge is the time we have to get everything together. Because the hall's used by other people, we can't leave our stuff lying around, so we have to come in and get it painted and the lights set when there's nobody else around. So that's one of the hardest things.
You feel with a musical there are so many things you've got to keep tabs on the whole time. It's a bit like looking after an octopus. You've just got to, you concentrate on the music and then perhaps something else can go adrift a bit. So I think that is the challenge really, is just to make sure that you give everything equal time.
The one thing I have found, particularly with this one, because the children are involved so much and have so many things to do, it isn't just the dancing they've got to learn the singing and a lot of harmony parts which they've not necessarily been used to, as well as doing all the drama stuff as well. And it really is teamwork to make sure that they get as much as they need from the director, the musical director and me, so that they feel happy with what they're doing.
This is for all the children, not sure all the time. You've got to be acting all the time, think about what you'd be doing. So you need to be looking at Brigitte when she's talking to Maria, looking at Maria's reaction, all that sort of thing.
It's remembering where to stand and where to move about. I have to do it quite a few times. I did quite a few shows, and then I've gone off and done a lot of choral singing, and that's a lot easier because you just stand there and stand in one place. And so I haven't done a show for a little while, so it's remembering to move about again and remember where to stand.
We did last time, but it was different again today. I'm worried to change it. Well, that shouldn't make any difference. Because I come on, if I'm moderator, I come on with Maxine, and Barbara, well, last time I came on with you, and if she's moderator, she comes on with Maxine, and I come with you, so it shouldn't make any difference at all.
Yeah, so can you make sure, as you come forward and line up, to the front row now, get right over.
I get very, very nervous singing in front of people, believe it or not. So I suffer with my nerves, big time.
I'm okay during rehearsals, but when it actually comes to the show, I will probably be really nervous. With the Rolf trying to be all romantic, it's kind of hard.
16, 17, fellows were falling
Val Mai very kindly has taken over the role of wardrobe mistress. She's done it for this show, and I have to say she does it for most of our shows. Some things she makes. For this show, she's made all the clothes that the children have to wear that are made out of curtains.
Can you see what I mean? It keeps drooping down, so I have to tack it all around. Because you know what they've done, look.
It's been taken up.
Yeah, but they...
But badly.
Yeah, very badly, and they've only done it in odd bits.
Weird, isn't it?
Well, this particular show, the big challenge is, of course, that it's a very well-known musical.
Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white ridges that melt into spring. My favorite thing when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad. I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
So therefore, you're quite exposed if things go slightly awry.
The guitar's supposed to be on stage.
And I think the balance really is getting, pushing yourself as far as you can, but really knowing where you've actually got to stop, and then make sure that what you're doing is good and correct. And I think we've got that.
It's a long run, this. Yes, it's going to be hard working as well, actually.
We've done more shows, so we're actually doing our first show tomorrow, which is a Sunday, and that's the first for us. We're doing 7 shows altogether, and that's more than we would normally do. For a musical, our maximum would be 5 shows. And tickets have gone very well, and the exciting thing for this show is that for the first time we've had online booking. It's made it possible for people who live out of the village to get the tickets much more easily. Well, I first moved here in 1990, but then I had about 9 years away when I lived in Belgium, and since I've been back about 12 years.
I originally moved to Pirton in 1984, so a very, very long time ago, and I brought my children up here.
I don't live in Pirton myself, I'm from Flitwick. It's got such a good reputation within Pirton, but also outside of Pirton.
I live in a place called Eastcote, Pinner, which is about a 35-mile drive. Geographically, that's actually quite hard for me, but I come up here every Wednesday.
Pirton Place does take up quite a lot of time.
When I'm directing a show, I spend a lot of lunch hours sitting in Cafe Nero with a cup of coffee and my script and working out various bits and pieces. So it does take up a lot of time.
I think the atmosphere has been very good in all of the rehearsals. It's been a very happy show. People have got on really well together. And I think we're all really looking forward to the dress rehearsal this afternoon and then the first show tomorrow.
Are you going to have this one?
Yeah.
Because you could do with a shortening the, do with it having that short.
Final word, Bash. Nothing like it 5 minutes before a dress rehearsal.
I'm really looking forward to it all coming together. I love this stage when you start to see the lights and the music, and it just creates a whole atmosphere. I was away for about 3 years and I moved back this summer, so this is really lovely, just getting back together with everybody again.
What's happening is, every beat, apart from where we've got the comma,
which is on the one, it's constant. What started to happen, we've started to add a little extension on a couple of those last few notes. Just keep going with the quavers all the way through. It's only on the very last note that it's a crotchet. I know what I'm saying, but we'll go through it tomorrow.
The sound, we did have problems with the sound, as you're probably aware, so well done everyone for working through that. Luckily, because we've got a fantastic contact at Bubbles, he's actually got us a replacement sound desk, which Peter's got this afternoon, and we've installed it, and it's working, and that's fantastic. So hopefully tomorrow the sound will be excellent.
I started dancing myself when I was 2.5, and I studied until I was 18, and then I stopped when I went to university. There was about a 3-4 year gap when I didn't do anything, but coming back to it, it was brilliant because it was just like the bit that was missing out of my life again.
For ye shall go out with joy, and be led forth with peace, and the mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing.
It's a very, very interesting and vibrant part of the community. I think it enables people to do things that they wouldn't normally do, and it really builds their confidence. And I think particularly with the music, it brings people together and gives them a chance to have a go at some well-known music, but to do it in a community. It's great fun, and the village really benefits from it, and the shows are enormously popular.
Every morning you greet me, small and white, clean and bright. You look happy to meet me, blossom of snow.
It's brilliant because everybody knows you through Pirton players, and I pop into the pub after rehearsals, or even sort of just come over with my husband for a drink or something to eat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we know you from such, and we saw you on the stage," and it's just such a lovely community atmosphere, and it's one of the best groups I've ever belonged to, really, for that reason.
I mean, we've all started off at some point with no experience, and we just love having new members. And the great thing for this show is that we've had quite a few new members, some of whom are backstage and some of whom are on the stage.
I think it means a lot. I think it's a very important part of the community. We get huge support from the village when we do a show.
Oh, it's amazing because everyone gets together, and everyone that you're sort of in the shows with, you see around the village.
My understanding is that anybody that wants to be involved can be involved.